At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 300 programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
This is Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hour number 3, Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. Matt Brown, Mike Somich. Wow, the first 2 hours just flying on by. You get your plus 850 home on the leadoff home run there in the Astros game. I mean, good for you. That's got to feel great, unlike me, who just had 2 of the 3 horses into my trifecta, but I didn't get the 4th, so I feel pretty bad about this. That's okay. We're firing again here on Aqueduct race number 6, Mike. Horses 1, 8, 10, 11.
There you go.
1, 8, 10, 11 there.
I like the 10. I like the 11, a little bit of a price. You know what I don't like, Matt? I don't like walks when you play first 5 unders.
Yeah.
And the San Diego Padres are just walking the Cubs into runs again today after they did so yesterday as well. Pretty frustrating when you get, bases are loaded, 2 outs, you just decide to walk somebody. Not great.
That's absolutely brutal. Tigers still up 7-2 there, bottom of the 7th on the White Sox. Astros, as we just mentioned, 1-0 early there on the Twins. 2-0 Cubs because Pivetta. 3 walks for Pivetta.
Yeah, 3 walks in an inning and 2/3.
Dang,
not great.
Man. No, that is not good.
3 of those came in the second inning. Maybe that's why there's some runs.
Yeah, not good at all. That's absolutely brutal. Okay, guys, these draft markets continue to get put up, and with each day that passes, and I'm not trying to be crazy here, but each day that passes, the numbers are going to get worse and worse, and we're like, this is when you want to be betting the draft. Before what teams are going to do is so obvious. Which, by the way, since this tweet came out, Mike, Cam Ward moved from minus 10,000 to minus 20,000 at DraftKings to go number 1 overall. So in the 20 minutes since we read this tweet or whatever, because again, it's an informational thing. People don't care about laying the 10,000 because they know they're going to get the money in return, so they're laying these huge numbers. Cam Ward now out to minus 20,000 to go, and so it's just, it is what it is. I mean, like we said, it's just, you've got to jump on this stuff. These are the things that you need to be looking at as soon as they come out, to be the number 1 quarterback, and then minus 2,000 to be the number 1 overall pick there in the draft. Now, I don't think you and I are interested at all in the number 1 pick market. Again, it seems like this, the writing's on the wall there with that. But the number 2 pick is one that you alluded to that I also got involved with. Abdul Carter, minus 200. Travis Hunter, plus 160. Shedeur Sanders is 7-1. Cam Ward, 18-1. And as we just found, we just said, Cam Ward's not going to be there. So that's a dumb pick. Then it's everybody else 50-1 or longer. Jackson Dart is the 50-1, and then everybody else for past that is 75 or longer. So let's circle back around. So everybody keeps saying with this Browns team, they're like, but here's the thing. You get Abdul Carter, and you put him there with Myles Garrett, and then you've got the best pass rush you've ever seen. Mike, when was the last time the best pass rush put butts in the seats? When was the last time the best pass rush got people to go buy jerseys and got them all hyped up about the team? I get it from a football standpoint. But when you have your owner come out and say that they whiffed on the trade for Deshaun Watson, all these things this, it's been a laughing stock there for the last 2 seasons. You can't guarantee you're going to be this high in the draft again next year. You just can't do it. Can they really pass on Shedeur Sanders at 2? I mean, you can at least get a guy to come in on a rookie contract and see if he can get it done.
No, they can't. I mean, it's really that simple. Like you said, if you do draft Abdul Carter, it's not going to fire up the fan base, right? You've got no solution sitting there at quarterback for the Deshaun Watson mess that you created yourself. You gave a bunch of draft capital to try and get him, so the roster's not amazing either. But you still have enough talent here on the defensive side that you may be decent if you get the right quarterback. you may as well take your shot at getting the right quarterback here when you have the number 2 pick in the draft. And like supposedly out of the combine, Cleveland actually liked Shedeur Sanders, which seems like it's not something a lot of teams are all that high on. It feels to me like you kind of want to take him here at 2 if you are the Cleveland Browns. I don't think Abdul Carter makes any sense for you because you've got Myles Garrett. I don't think Travis Hunter makes sense because I think it's just too high to pick him. I'm lower than on Travis Hunter than pretty much everyone in this draft. So that's kind of one of those. I'm not saying that I'm going to bet against him being drafted because I do think he's going to be taken pretty high. I just personally would not dip my toe in that Travis Hunter water. But this to me makes so much sense for Shedeur Sanders, where you need a quarterback. You've got to find a way to bring down the cost on your quarterback position because of what you're already paying for Deshaun Watson. 7-1 seems like a great price. I mean, it just simply does. Like, does this happen 1 out of every 7 times? Yeah, I think it does. I think this is more of 2 or 3 out of every 7 times. So for me, this was one that I was happy to get in the account.
I am looking because if my little prop finder is correct, because I'm going to go try and see if I can confirm this, Mike, but it's telling me there's a 9-1 at FanDuel.
That's a great price.
And if that is the case, that is just a bettable. Like that's just a bettable number for sure. It is. It is 9-1 at FanDuel. I want to make that bet. I need to drive to Arizona.
Yeah.
Like I played. There was a 750 here in town at MGM. I played that in conjunction with the over 3.5. And I will give you the explanation for this. Right? We know he's not going 1. Right? The Giants go out and sign Jameis and they sign Russ. All signs point to the fact that you're not going to be taking quarterback with 3 there with the Giants. And again, if you're trying to save your gig, if you're sitting there in that Giants organization, Mike, like you can't run a rookie quarterback out there like that. That's not going to be the excuse to get your job saved, right? You can't just hide behind the fact like, oh, we're running a rookie quarterback out there, like that's why we didn't win again. I am nearly positive that they pass on Shedeur Sanders as well. So I think he either goes 2 or he falls. And so I just played the conjunction of the 2 overall pick and then also the over 3.5 with Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, I love the logic there because you're also not going to see a team trade up to 3 to get him, right? You're not going to see the Giants trade out of that position. You mentioned all the issues that they have from a job security perspective at coach and at GM. You can't really trade back to try and get more assets. You kind of need an Abdul Carter if you are the Giants. It would be a great fit for them on a defensive line that's already very good.
Or so Travis Hunter or whatever, Again, I'm not going to. A personal preference here would be Abdul Carter here if you are the Giants.
So I don't see them trading back, and I also can't really find the team that I would target to trade up to go get him either. That's the other last piece of this is like who's going to go get Shedeur Sanders at 3. I don't see anyone wanting to give up the draft capital to go and make that happen.
Me neither. So I think it's like if someone trades to get him, like the most likely trade candidate becomes the Patriots at 4, right? Because like they're kind of like, we need an offensive lineman. It's kind of a reach at 4 to take an offensive lineman. So like I think that their pick is probably pretty open, like that 4 pick.
Oh yeah. They're in the market to move back because like you said, offensive lineman late in the top 10 makes sense. At 4, it doesn't make a ton of sense, especially if you have Carter or Hunter sitting there on the board.
So again, I bet it. The 9-1, I think is a fantastic number at FanDuel. Like I would bet that again. If I was in a state that had FanDuel, I would pull my phone out right now and I would bet that. So again, that's how adamant I am that I think that this is very, very open for them to take a quarterback at 2. The number 3 overall pick, we just talked about the Giants just a tad. Travis Hunter is minus 180 to go number 3 overall. Abdul Carter plus 280. Shedeur Sanders is plus 340. Everybody else 45 or longer. We gave you our thoughts already on Shedeur, why we don't think that that's going to happen at number 3. So it really comes down to Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, Mike. Listen, I know Travis Hunter has been linked there a ton. I know that he is a guy that if you believe he can come in and be a shutdown corner and then also go and get you 400 or 500 yards receiving, it's a pretty good pick. I mean, it's a pretty good pick to make. I just don't know if Abdul Carter's sitting there if they could pass up on it or whatever. So the number 3 overall pick for me, really tough. I'd have to play the plus money on Carter or not, but it's not enough for me. So I didn't really love this market. I didn't like 3.
Yeah, it's Abdul Carter or pass for me as well. He is the best player in this draft, right? The best prospect in this draft. He's just not a quarterback, and so you're not going to see him go at the one in the number one hole. I don't think the Giants can pass up on him if he gets there. We'll see if he gets there. I think that is the key aspect for Abdul Carter for me. I believe he does based on the way this goes. I think this is Ward, Sanders, Carter, and then a trade out and someone takes Hunter. But I don't mind the plus 210 price. But you're also kind of parlaying your opinion at 2 with your opinion at 3 here, and you're getting a better number on Sanders at 2. So depending on how you want to attack this draft, you just want to make sure you don't correlate too heavily across an exact top 4.
So number 4 pick is, like we said, I think the one that's super interesting because I do think the Patriots are kind of open for business. It is Will Campbell as your favorite because we know they need an offensive lineman. Mimbu is second at 3-1. So again, offensive lineman with the 2 of those. But Abdul Carter at plus 380 and Travis Hunter at plus 450. Mike, if the draft goes like we said, that means one of the 2 of those guys is going to be available at 4, right?
Yep.
That is
just bet them both.
Right, like bet them both. That's what I'm saying. Like if we think the draft goes like we say, and if Shedeur does go 2 to the Browns and the draft does fall like we think, that means one of the 2 of those guys is going to be available at 4, and someone is calling the Patriots to come get one of those 2 guys. Or the Patriots take it themselves.
Yeah, like that's the thing. If it's Abdul Carter sitting on the board, I think the Patriots just take him, right? I don't think that they're able to pass up at 4 unless someone comes up and offers them a big-time package to go get him. And like, there's too many questions around both of these offensive linemen to take them at 4 if Hunter or Carter is sitting on the board. And so I would be very surprised if both quarterbacks go in the top 2. It would be highly illogical not to see a Carter or Hunter go at 4.
Yeah, and so, again, for me, I look at this, Mike, I bet them both. I would just bet them both right now. And again, I might try to get that into my account as well. Guy, Profit X is available in 40-plus states out there. It is a peer-to-peer exchange in the U.S. Yes, you're not betting against sports books. You're betting against guys like me and Mike and your fellow bettors out there. Go in, download, use the promo code VSiN. You're going to get even better odds than you get at the sports book. You can even request your own odds over at Profit X.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Summich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. Matt Brown, Mike Summich, and you guys have heard me brag about my my trifectas that I fired off. To be fair, these are not in races that you are betting on, and like at least the race, I should say, the races that you have bet on, my record is still at least decent. I'm now 0 for 2. I've gone 2 for 3. I can't get a trifecta home to save my life, Mike. My 11 horse was running, apparently just running like the wind, but just way too late.
Yeah, running like the wind, but unfortunately, there was just a wall in front of him. You're not able to get there, not able to make it happen for you. I would say this. You're 0 for 2 in trifectas. That's actually not bad. This is horse racing. You're not supposed to hit everyone. And you're like 6 for 10 in the previous 10. So that is like exceptionally good. Unrealistic. Expect variance in that one.
I know. And guys, as we said, just as we were recapping, just doing the draft stuff that we were just talking about, news has come out the Titans have canceled their upcoming private workout with Shedeur Sanders, all but ensuring that the Titans are going to take Cam Ward with the number 1 overall pick. We thought that anyway. This pretty much sets it in stone unless someone comes in with just some sort of massive package, some sort of massive deal. But again, Mike, like we didn't even consider that last year with the Bears because the Bears were like, no, we're keeping the pick. We need a quarterback. We're taking a quarterback. I don't care what you offer us. We need a quarterback. We're taking a quarterback. Maybe the Titans look at it the same way at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely getting close to that, right? The only team that I thought was actually going to be trying to make a move, unfortunately, I'm ripping up my Giants first overall ticket here, was the Giants, where if they wanted to come in and say, okay, we're going to make this move. And you could make an argument the Titans are doing this to make the Giants have to pay if they want Cam Ward because they know he won't be there. But it feels like the Titans, who don't have a quarterback on the roster, are just going to take a quarterback here.
Now joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line, Ryan McIntyre, co-host of the College Experience over on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network at Moneyline_Mac over there on the Twitter machine. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, guys. I appreciate you having me, and happy Final Four Saturday.
Yeah, before we get into the games itself, I know a lot of people, and I say have been poo-pooing this Final Four, but really I don't know if it was just clickbait, if it's just people wanting to have topics to talk about on their morning talk shows or whatever, but I personally don't mind having probably the 4 best teams in the Final Four, like probably the 4 best teams in college basketball all season long in the Final Four. What say you? Is it boring to you, or do you like just having the best teams at the end?
I like having the best teams at the end. I think we like Cinderella for the first 2 rounds. We like an upset here and there. But in the end, I think we all want to see the best teams compete in the Final Four. I do a top 25 every single week, and these 4 teams have all at one point been number 1 in my poll and in the AP and coaches poll so this year. So these, I think, were head and shoulders the 4 best teams. I mean, the analytics back that up. They're in the top 10 in offense and defensive efficiency. And then, of course, the stat where all 4 of these teams would be a top 10 team all time. So I think that we got the 4 best teams, and they've been the 4 best teams all year long. Sometimes we just lose sight of that because the season's so long.
Yeah, I agree with you. Look, Cinderellas are fun in those first couple rounds. I want to see best on best once we get later into the tournament. And a lot of people talking about how this is the transfer portal's fault and all that jazz. Look, when you have 4 teams that are rated as highly as these 4 are, not shocking that you're going to see them face off here in the Final Four.
Guys, it's like we got a 2.5-point line and a 4.5-point line. Do we want to be sitting here breaking down a 13-point spread? You know what I'm saying? Like, do we want to be breaking down a 14-point spread right now? Like, I don't. I like the fact that it's tight.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt.
I agree with you guys.
We've got a couple great games, so let's jump into them. Let's talk a little bit about what to expect today and who you like in these specific spots. We're going to tip off here with Florida taking on Auburn. We've seen this pretty much stagnant at 2.5. We have seen some movement toward the under. The total opened at 162. We're down to a 158.5 number now. What did you do with this one, and who do you think has the advantage in Florida Auburn?
So, and what's nice too is a lot of these games with these teams are rematches, whether it's hypothetical national championships. We've seen Auburn and Florida play, both being in the SEC. They played on February 8th, and quite frankly, Florida just kicked their ass start to finish, made a bunch of threes, made 13 threes that day. Elijah Martin was a late scratch, so I think it was the 1-game bump without one of their premier guys. Walter Clayton really made shots at a high clip that day. He was making shots from the logo. And then they had a guy that came off the bench that really doesn't play, Klavzar. He made 3 threes. So I almost kind of throw out that game on February 8th just because it was such an outlier with how bad Auburn played. I think that Auburn it has heard all week how good these Florida guards are. But at the same time, these Auburn guards are really good too. And they're veterans. Miles Kelly, Denver Jones, Chad Mazzara. I think that Bruce Pearl is going to challenge his guards, and they're going to meet the challenge here today. And I think Pettiford, the young freshman off the bench who's an X factor, I think he makes enough plays. I think the line is a little bit overinflated because people are overreacting to whatever injury John Abram has. I mean, I know he's got an ankle injury, he's got a knee injury, he's got an elbow injury, he's got every injury, but he's been injured all year long. He's been injured since middle of January, so he's used to playing kind of compromised a little bit here. So I think the line was 11 back in February. It's swung 13 points here. I like Auburn to get their revenge. I think that they are playing better basketball, in my opinion, than Florida. Florida's only really played well for 1/2 against Maryland this tournament. But I think Auburn makes enough plays, gets the revenge here, and moves on to Monday night. I think it's going to be a heck of a game.
Guys, here finally comes the Auburn money. Down to 2 out behind me here at Circa. Just flashed 2 at Caesars. The juice now only is very, very high if you want to take the 2.5 at DraftKings, FanDuel, and MGM. So the money is now coming in here on Auburn in this one. Ryan, if again, I don't think we're going to get definitively how healthy, how injured Janai Broome is before this thing gets going. So do we just have to basically go in and assume that we're getting the best version of this Auburn team? And if that's so, then that's why you go towards Auburn. Because I was kind of factoring in the fact that he's not going to be 100%, which is why I was leaning more towards the Florida side. But I guess I'm making assumptions here.
I was the same way. I kind of was swaying towards Florida earlier in the week, but the more and more I thought about it, he's had 6 days to get who knows what drugs to get him ready to go for this game. So I think he's a lot healthier than maybe the odds makers made it at the beginning of the week, and I think that line is a little bit of an overreaction if Broome wasn't playing. But Broome is playing. I think Broome will play well. I think that they'll play a little bit slower than they did back on February 8th because you can't really run with Florida. And I also just think that with 6 days to go, they haven't had 6 days off the entire year. So this is a unique scenario where they have more rest than they ever had. I worry about Broome if they win this game on Monday night, getting that elbow banged on, getting that knee banged on, getting that ankle banged on, and whatever other injuries he may have.
Now, in a game where we saw some Auburn money come in as well as some over money here, we've kind of seen a stagnant line today between Houston and Duke. Duke a 4.5, 5-point favorite in some places, total sitting right around 136.5. Is this a Duke team that is just better than everybody else, going to be able to blow Houston out of the water? Do you think Houston able to keep this close and make it a game late?
I do think Duke is the best team, but I think Duke is going to lose tonight. The best teams don't always win in March, and I like the matchup for Houston. I look at who Duke struggled with in the ACC. It wasn't many teams, but you look at the Clemson game, that they played the slowest among all the teams in the ACC. So they dragged the game in the mud. They limited possessions. They played through the post, made shots when they had to. And that's exactly what Houston wants to do. I mean, they got veteran guards. I think that we don't give Houston enough credit on the offensive side of the basketball. They're the best three-point shooting team in the country, but we just talk about how good their defense is because it's such an elite level. You know the old saying, defense always beats offense. So I think Styles makes fight here. I think Houston drags us in the mud, and the game is in San Antonio, so I am anticipating a Houston home game. Kelvin Sampson on 6 days of prep. I think he has enough here from a game plan standpoint to dictate their tempo. And I know that we talked about the Jamal Shead injury last year where he goes down and Duke is able to beat them 54-51 the Sweet 16 with the revenge angle. But Joseph Tugler and Arsenault were not in that game either. They were out for the year already at that time. So I think the role guys of Houston being healthy this time around puts Houston over the finish line. I think it's a bad matchup for Duke personally.
He is Ryan McIntyre, host of the College Experience over on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network at Moneyline_Mac over on the Twitter machine. Ryan, do appreciate it. Fire off some baseball bets, some horse, but whatever you got to do to get you through the next 2.5 hours.
Exactly. Hey, amen. Yeah, I was just about to go look at the board and spray some 4 o'clock games to get me to the 6 o'clock Eastern. But go Houston and Auburn here tonight in San Antonio.
Thanks for the time, man, and good luck.
Appreciate it, guys.
So there it is, more Houston love, Mike. And like I said, it is
lots of Houston love.
Lots and lots of Houston love. When we come back, I'll kind of give you my thoughts on. We have a contest here. You know, we were promoting on the website, and we quit talking about it. I don't know why. Is it maybe because I ended up in first? That they're like, I don't know why we don't talk about it anymore. But I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to win this contest. We'll have some game theory, some strategy session whenever we come back here. We'll also check in on that leaderboard, see what's going on over Major League Baseball as well.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Summich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Matt and Mike here on Ready, Set, Bet on VSiN, and Pavetta just doesn't have it today there, Mike. No. That said, I mean, what is it? It's under, what are you trying
to
keep?
Under 3.5.
Okay.
3.5. So
not dead
we need
yet.
We need 2 0-0 innings here.
Not dead yet, but he's given up 6 hits and 3 walks through 3 innings already. That is not good.
No, well, to be honest, this is why you took the under first 5, because the pitch, he's been terrible. And yet they only have 3 runs because they can't hit the ball out of the park. And so everything is singles and these walks, and you've had bases loaded for 2 straight innings, yet you've only gotten 3 runs out of those situations. So the idea behind the handicap has been fine. Nick Pivetta has just been terrible.
Yeah, he's not been good. Detroit does win that game against the White Sox 7-2. And, of course, as soon as I say that Jose Miranda doesn't have any power. He hits a 3-run homer there for the Twins, and now they are up 4-1 on the Astros, because that's just how things work whenever you say stuff like that. Fortunately, I didn't have a bet in it, but yes, 4-1 there. The Twins over the Astros. Over in golf, like we said, they're just kind of stuck in the mud there. This wind has kept anybody from doing anything, which, could make for an interesting Sunday for us. That's actually the real defense of this course, Mike, over there in San Antonio is in fact the wind, and it's built on the premise that the wind is going to be blowing certain directions, which makes like some of these holes play just ridiculously long. The par fives are already 600 yards, that is anyway, and a lot of them play like with the wind in your face, and so that's kind of what we're getting today, whereas the first couple of days was pretty scoreable over there. So we'll keep you updated what's going on in San Antonio as well. As far as the lines over here in the Final Four, like we said, the Auburn money finally starting to come in. We have now gotten 2s at South Point here in Vegas. It is a 2 at Superbook here in Vegas. It is a 2 out here behind me at Circa, 2 at Caesars, Mike, and the 2.5s are 115, 115, and 118 at DraftKings, FanDuel, and BetMGM. So does look like Auburn might get this thing to 2 before tip.
Are you surprised? I'm a little surprised. I thought the late money would be on Florida here, not Auburn, but we have seen enough money on Auburn. And I'd be interested to see the betting splits. If we're seeing the betting splits still move toward Florida, yet we're seeing the money pouring on Auburn, which would tell you most people would say the sharp money then coming in on Auburn here to push it down. But I did expect Florida to take the public money here coming up to game time. Yeah,
I think it's interesting to me mainly because I think people – if you're paying somewhat attention down the stretch, I mean, really the narrative just around Auburn was all negative, right? I mean, that was everything you heard heading into the tournament about how the team stumbled and whatever, and maybe they ran out of gas, and they're not the same team that started out 27-2, yada 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 yada, where it looked like Florida was firing on all cylinders. So yeah, I mean, I kind of thought that as well, but again, not the case right now. We do still have 2.5 hours until tip, so I mean, it could change. But right now, it is Auburn money.
Yeah, I thought excellent point by Ryan, who was our last guest here in the previous segment, where he brought up that Auburn was an 11-point favorite at home in this game about a month and a half ago, right? And so let's say 4 points for home court, 5 points for home court, somewhere in there. You're still looking at a 6-point neutral line. This is flipped 7-8 points in this case, and that's a massive move when you're considering the period of time and the fact that Auburn was the number 1 overall seed and a very good basketball team. Yes, they struggled down the stretch, but they struggled against top 10 teams. So again, I'm surprised it's Auburn money, but I understand why it's coming in.
And then Houston and Duke. 5s have now officially been wiped out, Mike. So all the 5s are gone. It is 4.5 everywhere now, and I can say this. We might see that 4 that we were talking about because the 4.5 is now minus 102 at DraftKings. It's 105 at FanDuel as well. It's 105 at Fanatics. So we are seeing more and more Houston money come in. Could get this thing to 4.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see how this ends up as well because, we've been talking about it. Everybody on this network likes Houston. I took Houston 5.5. But at the same time, if this gets down to 3.5 to Duke, then I'm probably going to come back and just try and root for a middle here in this spot because I do think that's a little bit short in this game. So we'll see what this one ends up closing out. Another one where I would expect it's late Duke money, but we're seeing this earlier in the day Houston money, and this is one is still 5.5 hours to tip, and we'll have the conclusion of the other game, which also will mean if Florida wins in coverage, you're going to see some of that favorite money come back in here on Duke. So very interesting to see how this line moves. Total sitting at 136.5 hasn't really adjusted for the majority of the day.
Yeah, I am. Again, I guess I've been bad. I guess I've been worse at this over the last couple of years than I used to be. Like, even with it being probably still sharper money at this time of day, Mike, like, it's Duke. Like, you just expect Duke to take the money, right? Like you always knew Duke was going to take the money. And now, especially against like a team like Houston, right? I mean, like it's not like if it was some other team where it was kind of a real year in, year out over the last decades brand name team, then you could kind of get it and you could get the support against Duke on that. But you just expect Duke to take money, especially when they're this good.
With 3 lottery picks and the number 1 overall NBA pick, who who won Player of the Year and is hyped up, right? It's not just Duke; it's Duke with Cooper Flagg, right? And that makes me feel like that public money should come. I don't feel like this is public money at this point coming in on Houston, though.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff here. All right, so 7-5 Eastern. Over on the Diamond, we have the Rays and the Rangers. This is Taj Bradley and Jacob deGrom. Currently minus 180 Rangers at home, plus 150 Rays on the road. 7.5 is our total here in this one. And Mike, look, this was a big question of ours as we headed into this season. It wasn't necessarily whether Jacob deGrom was going to be good or not. It wasn't necessarily whether we thought that him working at 96, 97 instead of 99, 100 was going to drastically affect, his performance. It was more like, hey, what was his leash going to be? What were they going to give him? How much were they going to give him? And interestingly enough, they let him go 5 innings in his first start back after he hasn't really pitched any significant amount of time since 2022. So here he is in his second start, and he just looked like Jacob deGrom out there.
When he pitches, he's good, right? And at this point in the season, he's going to pitch. I think he's going to get 5, maybe 6 innings, depending on how today goes. And it's why I'm going to play the first 5 under here. I don't want to deal with the bullpen innings. I don't want to play the 7.5 number. You can get under 4, minus 120. I took under 3.5 in this spot, plus 105. I like deGrom. I like Bradley, who's starting for the Rays as well here. So I think this is a pitcher-dominated matchup early in the game. I'll take the under 3.5 first 5 at plus money, plus 105, Matt.
I will say the strikeout prop for deGrom has gotten up to 7.5 at FanDuel.
That's a little high.
And I think they're going to treat him, while they're going to give him 5 innings probably, even if he's at a high 60s pitch count or something, I just don't think they bring him out for the 6th inning anymore. If you're the Rangers, you kind of unfortunately have to treat him with kid gloves, right? And so 8 Ks in 5 innings, could anyone do it? Of course, deGrom could do it. He could be that guy. For me, I think you just have to play the percentages and play the under.
I mean, if you like the 8 Ks over or 7.5 over, just take the team total first 5 under for the Rays. Because if he strikes out 8 batters, it's in the first 5 innings, and he's not allowing runs, right?
Yeah.
So there's in my mind, a better way to play that. Because if he strikes out 6 or 7, they probably are still going under their total, right? And so there's in my mind, a better way to attack it if you do think deGrom goes over that 7.5 strikeout number.
Blue Jays and the Mets. This is also kind of in that 7-10 Eastern range. We are minus 130 Mets at home as favorites. We got the Jays as plus 110 road dogs. 7.5 is our total here in this one.
Yeah, I guess I'm higher on the Blue Jays than most people here. You got Bassett on the mound against Canning. I think Bassett has an advantage on the mound here for the Blue Jays. I think the offense is slightly better for the Blue Jays than for the Mets, and yet we're sitting here with the wrong team favored. You can get plus 112 on the Blue Jays in a lot of spots. Again, I like playing first 5s. I mainly handicap the starting pitchers, not the bullpen, so I want to take the known quantities, and that's the first 5 innings here for me. And I'll take the Blue Jays at plus 105 here in the first 5. I think they should be minus 110, minus 115, not sitting here at plus money. So I'll take that slight edge and play the Blue Jays first 5 plus 105, Matt.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, Griffin Canning has really never shown us much, right? So
nope.
Yeah, he's really never shown us much at all. So that's one of those where you look at it and it's a little bit of a head scratcher. You can't really understand why that would be. So yeah, I don't know. We'll discuss some more baseball here when we get back on the next segment. But Twins 6-1 over the Astros. I mean, they're just this team that has been doing absolutely nothing offensively, going out here and hitting the ball all over the yard.
I need a more celebratory mood from you, Matt. We've got the over 7.5. These are great runs for us here. We're 4 innings in. We got 7 of them. We got our Altuve bomb.
There we go.
All we need is Alvarez to hit his home run, and all of a sudden we catch both home run props and the over in the game. Come on, get excited.
There it is. Well, I mean, maybe I'm just a little salty. I still haven't gotten one of my trifectas home today or something like that. Guys, if you haven't done so already and you want to be a VSiN Pro subscriber, we're giving you basically the best deal that you can get now to August the 1st. $59 for every single thing that we do over at VSiN.com/subscribe. That includes any and all guides that we put out, our daily best bets, which, yes, we write up every single sport each and every day over there on the site. You can go to the picks page, and if you just want to see what everybody's got going for that day, of course, we have the splits page, and you get the video feed and the video feed in the app as well. All of that just for $59 from now through August the 1st. VSiN.com/subscribe.
to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Final segment here on Ready, Set, Bet. Matt Brown and Mike Somich. Thank you guys for being with us here today. Sirius XM, Channel 158, YouTube TV, our own VSiN Watch app, terrestrial stations across this great country of ours. Do appreciate all of that. Want to make sure we get to the rest of your baseball bets here, Mike. The Cincinnati Reds and the Milwaukee Brewers. This is Brady Singer and Elvin Rodriguez. It is about a coin flip, slightly favored towards the Brewers here in this one at home. A flat 8, though it is juiced a little bit towards the over.
Yeah, I like the Reds in this spot. This is a situation where I'm just wanting to go against the starting pitcher here for the Brewers. He has a ridiculous fly ball to ground ball rate in this spot. If you look at Rodriguez's first start, 1 ground ball out, 14 fly ball outs in a park where you can hit home runs there in Milwaukee. I think Cincinnati has an advantage at the pitching spot here with Singer on the hill, and I think that they have an advantage of the bats considering how Rodriguez has pitched. It's just be his second game in 3 years as well, so we'll see how deep he's able to go into this one. So I took the Reds first 5, -110 there. And I also sprinkled on a couple home run props here. Give me De La Cruz at +370 to hit home run and McClain at +500 to hit home run. We talked about McClain before the season. He's been on an absolute tear. He's hitting the cover off the ball, and this is a fly ball pitcher that he gets to face in a home run happy park. So like the Reds first 5 -110, and like De La Cruz and McClain to hit a home run at +370 for De La Cruz and +500 for McClain.
Yeah, just to confirm, he is in the lineup today. Was a little bit of a scare, and we're wondering whether he was actually going to be in there today, but he is hitting second for that Red squad. They just confirmed their lineup. De La Cruz hitting third, so you'll get a bunch of opportunity at least there for both of those guys. I know this very well, as McClain was one of my one of the terrible players that I have on my horrible fantasy team that we talked about.
He's been great so far.
A little bit earlier. I know. I mean, he's like the one bright spot that we've got going on right now on that one. All right, so we got the Mariners and the Giants a little bit later. This is Bryce Miller for the Mariners, Robbie Ray for the Giants. -130 Giants at home, +110 Mariners on the road as dogs. 7.5 is our total.
Yeah, I might regret this one. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to take the over in a Mariners game.
Yeah.
Look, Robbie Ray.
Good on you, buddy. I mean,
hey,
that is the lightest hitting team. That's the lightest hitting team. I understand it's tiny sample size. That team is atrocious. It's a tough hang, man. Like I've tried to watch like 2 of their games. I can't do it.
Here's the thing. They like to take walks, okay? And Robbie Ray, he doesn't mind walking people. Also doesn't mind giving up home runs. And the wind is blowing out 20 miles per hour in Giant Stadium tonight. Like, so you have a massive wind here in a ballpark that has big time proportions. So in Oracle, you've got those huge proportions out in the outfield. Some of those like doubles could turn into home runs tonight. And if you do have that type of wind, you're going to be able to get it back to the corners and off that wall. So I'm going to play the elements here, and the fact that Robbie Ray doesn't mind giving up homers, doesn't mind walking people. On the other side, Miller hasn't been incredibly sharp. And this Giants team, which, you know, people were kind of knocking their offense heading into the season, through 7 games, they're 5-2 to the over. So they have been hitting the baseball. So we'll take the over here at 7.5. I was able to get it at +101. It's down to -105, Matt. So sharp money coming in on the over here in the Mariners-Giants game.
Yeah, I had a pretty good lean to just playing the Giants in this game. I think that price is kind of short for 130. I mean, I'm a little bit higher on Robbie Ray until he proves me wrong. I think that, you know, the talent is still there for him. I think -130 at home for this Giants team is a pretty good price. So I kind of like that one there on it. We'll see if we can get that one in the account when it's all said and done. Mike, we have that bracket contest, so I want to talk a little bit of strategy with you. So I'm currently in first place. Not a brag or anything, just as more of a, just to let everybody know. It's not bragging when you're just letting everybody know on the microphone that I'm currently
making sure everyone's aware.
Yeah, in first place there in that one. So basically, even though I like Duke, I played Houston in the contest. So I want to explain this on air when people say, dude, I listen to the show and then I look on the thing. Whatever. Like, contest and strategy and how to win these things is different than what I'm doing in my own account, right? And so you guys heard today, everybody we had on, go look online, go look at the Twitter machine, go do whatever you want to do. Everybody loves Houston. Everybody's on Houston. So for me, since I'm already in first, I'm not trying to gain. If I was like in third, Mike, this is an auto play on Duke, right? But instead, I just play defense here in this one. And so I took in the contest Houston because I don't need to go anywhere. I'm already in first.
Exactly. Yeah, you're in defense mode. I
Yeah.
love playing horse racing tournaments, and there are so many mistakes people make from a game theory perspective in the final couple races because instead of defending their position, they're going to take some of these crazy long shots. Yeah, if they win, you win the tournament. That's great. But you've got 3 people within $3-4 of you right behind you. All one of them needs is a place from the favorite to be able to pass you. You have to play defense in certain points in contests and in tournaments. This is one of those situations where because the world at VSiN at least feels like it's on Houston, not a terrible idea to take Houston and just say, fine, we'll just throw that game out.
Right.
Go try and beat me on the other game.
Yeah, and so that's the direction I took in that. But I just wanted people to understand. They go in, if you see that in the contest and go, dude, you said the exact same opposite thing on the show. It's contest. It's like I'm trying to win it. So that's the reason that went in there. Let's get to our G-Bank best bets. Of course, G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN. And for me, Mike, I played the 2.5 on Florida. It was anyway. It's down to 2. Put a little bit more here on the 2. I get it. There has been a week. I know Janai Broom gets the best medical care humanly possible. I get all of that. I just don't know with a knee hyperextension if it can just get that much better in 6 days. I mean, maybe it can, but he's still not going to be 100% any way that you go about it. And I do like that Florida does have what I consider to be the depth and the size to maybe make life a little bit difficult on him. And who knows, maybe even get him into some foul trouble and maybe have to make him play fewer minutes out there. And if he's playing fewer minutes, the best player not playing as many minutes is always good for me. So I did play the short number there on Florida, and that will be my best bet here of the day. What is yours?
Well, I got quite a few.
Yeah.
But favorite bet of the day for me, if I'm just picking one, is that Reds money line first 5. I think the Reds have a very good opportunity against a poor pitcher for the Brewers to be able to take him yard a couple times, be able to get the first 5 win there. That's sitting at -110. I'm just going to rip through some plays here, Matt, because I've got a bunch in the account left over for today here. So Florida Auburn, I took the over at 159.5. You can get a better number. You can get 159. I do think this is a game that is played with pace. I do think it's a close game late. That tends to lean toward overs as well. So we'll take over Florida Auburn. Duke Houston, I think, is the opposite, especially in the first half. I think this is a close game. I think this is a defensive battle. I don't think Duke minds playing in the half court. And I think their defense is going to be able to hold up against a Houston team who we'll see if they can hit the 3 ball. Because if they can't, this game's going to go under, especially in that first half. So give me under 63.5 first half there. I like the Oilers on the money line. You can get +140, +145 out there. I just think this is too big of a number. I think this should be +115, +120. The Kings are 28-4-4 at home. That's why you're seeing this number. But this is a massively important game into the playoffs. So I do like the Oilers here at the +140 number. Also like the first period under goal and a half there if you want to get that one in as well. Lightning +120 today. This is a situation where I think Lightnings are just simply a better hockey team here than the Sabres team that they're taking on. The Sabres like giving up goals. Lightnings like scoring them. I think this game probably goes to the over. I think the Lightning cover the 1.5 there, +120 in that spot. Just continuing down the list here for some late baseball games. Rangers-Rays first 5 under 3.5 for me, like the pitching matchup there. Blue Jays money line first 5. Not sure why they're the dog in that spot. I mentioned the Reds money line first 5 -110. Also like De La Cruz and McLean to hit home runs at +370 and +500 each. And then Marlins-Giants, I will go contrarian. I will take the over with these two teams in a ballpark that is going to play toward runs this today because of the elements there. So give me over 7.5 Mariners and Giants as the final best bet for me today.
Guys, these best bets are brought to you by G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN. So they're up in the ante, going to give you up to $750 in bonuses for a new G-Bank Visa Signature card. Go in, new customers, spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days from account opening are going to get a $250 bonus. If you're a big baller out there, you can get up to $500 more, potentially $750 in bonuses there. You can apply. VSiN.com/GBank. That is VSIN.com. The letter G, BANK, subject to credit approval and terms and conditions, as always, do apply. Mike, the A's and the Rockies sitting at 9.5. Even with the inflated total, I did play a little bit on the over there in that one as well. I should have mentioned, look, I get it. Light hitting Rockies team. I fully understand. Look, Herman Marquez, JP Sears, I have no confidence in either one of those dudes. Give me the 10 runs getting scored there in the A's and the Rockies.
How can you say such things about my boy JP Sears?
I know.
How can you do it? I think the Athletics are frisky this year. We talked last year about the Nationals being a frisky team when they had decent starters on the hill. I think the A's are that frisky team this year. If anything, for me, it'd be A's first half. I don't even hate the A's game here. I think they have a better bullpen, too, sitting at minus 120.
One thing that didn't make our best bets here, because neither one of us can bet it because we're not in FanDuel jurisdictions. But listen, again, 9-1 on Shedeur to go second. 1 out of 9 times that's happened. I mean, like the Browns make the right decision 1 out of 9 times. I mean, like they need a quarterback. They're at the top of the draft. I would put the 9-1 in there. You don't have to put a ton on it, but that's a good price on him to go number 2 overall. So we found that one, snipped that one out. Hopefully you can get that into your account. That's it for us. Enjoy the Final Four. Good luck on all your bets.